Right. Then they're standing on the streets and dispersing peaceful protesters and using sound cannons on them. So that's the whole point of our message is to counteract that and to teach them about the Constitution and get them back to square one of being defenders of the Republic.
But there's that powerful peer pressure mode. I mean, I would imagine of the thousands of police and military batoning women running for no reason, having police dogs bite old women. I mean, there's video of this. Driving through empty neighborhoods, sound cannoning a kid if they walked out their front door with a football. I mean, just you're not allowed on the streets of Pittsburgh or Oakland, Pennsylvania. When we come back, I want to talk about that because I'm sure some of those troops and police were good people, but in that mass psychology of war and with all the psychological brainwashing they've gone through, the hypnotic suggestions of their training, when the time came, I mean, they were looking for blood. They wanted the blood of the American people. We'll talk about that with Stewart Rhodes, the founder of Oath Keepers, straight ahead. Stewart Rhodes is our guest. Stewart-Rhodes.blogspot.com. You can also go to the Oath Keepers website, oathkeepers.org. We'll tell you about the big Las Vegas event, their first annual meeting. You want to be there. Stewart's a founder and director of Oath Keepers. He served as a U.S. Army paratrooper until he disabled in a rough terrain parachuting accident during a night jump. He is a former firearms instructor and former member Representative Ron Paul's D.C. staff. Stewart currently writes the monthly Enemy at the Gates column for SWAT magazine. So they're reaching out to those people. Stewart graduated from Yale Law School, where his paper, Solving the Puzzle of Enemy Combatant Status, won Yale's Miller Prize for Best Paper on the Bill of Rights. He assisted teaching U.S. military history at Yale, was a Yale research scholar, and is writing a book on the dangers of applying the laws of war to the American people. And he's a great leader, and we're honored to have men of his caliber fighting the globalist takeover. And he's another testament to taking action. What, Oath Keepers been around how long? And it's everywhere now. It's exploding.
First official meeting on the Green in Lexington this year, April 19th, 2009.
So it's less than a year old.
Oh yeah. We're in our baby infancy stage, but it's growing like wildfire. We have directors now in about half the states, and our goal is to have strong Oath Keeper chapters in every county. Because we take the country from the county up. That's the
Well, Stewart, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not telling you to get into politics because what you're doing is more important in the grassroots right now. But I'm not impressed with some of the people running under the Ron Paul banner. I'm not impressed with how they compromise. I'm not talking about Ron Paul himself, but some of the people kind of running on his coattails. You are the type of person, that's what's good about Oath Keepers, we'll find more high-caliber people who we should run for Congress.
Well, I don't think I'll ever run for office because I think I'm much better at going and finding folks. And for example, there's a candidate in Orange County for sheriff there, Bill Hunt, who we're putting our we're getting behind. And I think he's a pretty committed patriot in lines of Sheriff Mack. And that's where I would start as a sheriff races in every county. And Kent Harris up in Unicoi County, Tennessee, we were just there. In fact, Chuck Baldwin was there too, and his son Tim Baldwin were there for a patriot rally up in Unicoi County in the northeastern corner of Tennessee. And that's a pretty squared away sheriff too. And there was a bunch of folks there open carrying, and the sheriff there endorsed and supported that. He wants people to do that. He wants them to exercise their rights. So those were all good signs.
Yeah, the open carry is really going to defeat the gun grabbers because, as you know, they advertise all over TV that owning guns is illegal. And they base all those TV shows in New York where they are. And so all over the country, people are getting I mean, have you seen the John Elway Homeland Security video? They're showing citizens where
I did see that, yeah.
Well, for those that don't know, they show gold and say terrorists in their home may have gold or they may have firearms. Call the police if you see firearms. I mean, we've got to start wearing our guns openly to just educate the sheeple that guns aren't illegal.
Yeah, they don't even know that open carry is legal in most states, and that's why folks are doing that is to put the point across that hey, I'm not violating any code, I'm not violating any statute by standing here with a safely holstered sidearm. You know.
Well, Stewart, I can't stress enough how much your organization is scaring the globalists. I mean, they admit they are scared of the police and military being recruited by the patriots and just learning what it is to be an American, rediscovering that. We're going to go to break, and I want to come back and let you have the floor and then take some calls. But you started getting into G20. watching the videos of police dogs biting old women coming out of shops with bags, sound cannoning peaceful neighborhoods, going into the university at night saying you can't be out, chasing women down, billy clubbing them. I mean, that is tyranny.
Well, it's kind of like having Katrina. You had police brought in from all over the country. They're brought in, and they don't know the local people at all. They have no sympathy for them, and then they're put in that riot control mode. They're told that they're here to keep the peace, and they're told that there's going to be violent protesters, and so they're kind of primed for that kind of behavior. And then you know, they're kind of locked into the riot mode, and they overreact, and they you know, it's like having a hammer. All you have is a hammer, and everything looks like a nail. And so once you're in that riot mode, it's hard to get them out of that. So.
Well, exactly. You get macho men, warriors who are designed to go charging into other men with swords and axes, hacking each other. That normal part of the brain kicks in, but it's college kids. They have a few hired anarchists throw a few things, and then they go on a police rampage. They are being psychologically manipulated.
Exactly, and that's why I mean, like with Luke Rudowski's attempt to talk to them about their oath, it's necessary to do that, but by that point, it's oftentimes too late because they're locked into that mode. You got to reach them. You got to reach them before they get to that point, and you got to talk to them about how it's not proper to go from L.A. or wherever they're from and go to another city and become nationalized. That's the first line right there. They shouldn't be doing that.
Long segment coming up. I want to speak about how they bring these swarms of police from all over the nation to New Orleans or to Pittsburgh or to other areas, and then G20 private security in police uniforms grabbing citizens off the street into unmarked cars. We'll get Stewart Rhodes' take on that straight ahead.